The clock will stop running rather with less than 4 to go in both halves. Trevor Etienne back deep to receive this Adam Mahalik kick. And from the goal line, off and running in Gainesville. 7 in white, rushing ahead to the 20. Here's our first look at Graham Mertz. 32 starts at Wisconsin. This guy's been around the block and now running an RPO-based system. It'll be different for him.
I think it'll be different for him, but I think something that he's actually welcoming. You know, the offense was pretty bland there in Wisconsin. He gets a chance now to be in full control of this offense with a lot of options.
Backside pressure. Mertz will sling it out to his running back, Montrell Johnson. Makes a nice move, and let's see where they whistle this back.
It's back at a 25 where the sack should have been.
There we go. The backside pressure was fast and furious. It was Caleb Banks.
And I tell you what,
Mertz is living in a different world, is what he said, in terms of how quickly he picked this thing up. Here comes pressure. Austin Armstrong will dial it up, and Mertz going to be hit back near the 25, and that'll be 4th down.
A little bit of heat stepping up, and Etienne that time did not give a great effort. Ended up not having an opportunity for Mertz to take a shot down the field.
Jacob Watkins back deep to receive. Make that Pearsall. Watkins will kick it away. Couple of bounces. Whistle dead inside the 32, a punt of 43. First look at Jack Miller, transfer from Ohio State, and I think the sense of urgency, if it's there, it's going to be there right now.
Well, I think the sense of urgency increased considerably when Graham Mertz got on campus. And you talk to the coaching staff about what a professional Graham Mertz is. And I think it's actually helped Jack Miller in terms of his preparation, understanding how he has to get ready, understanding the competition that he's in right now. And I think there's a tremendous sense of urgency on his behalf to have a great culmination here to what's been a pretty successful spring, according to the coaching staff.
Miller, of course, we saw him extensively in the Vegas Bowl.
Love
to redeem himself. And a deep ball. Double coverage. And the pass was reeled in. Aiden Mizell, penalty marker is down. Toombs, the corner. Yeah, let's see what the call is.
I love the play call, right? Mizell, a freshman. Everybody's been talking about this kid, the fastest player on the team. What do they do? First play?
Defense number 37. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Take a shot there. That's the problem when you got a receiver that fast, Roy. Too much for the arm. Ends up having to come back for it. That's one of the good things about playing the wide receiver position. You get to see the football. The corner's got his back turned. On underthrown balls, you can either go up and make a play or get the contact there that gets you the 15-yard pass interference.
He popped up with it, but the ball obviously caromed right underneath. 15-yard pass interference penalty. The handoff, Trayon Webb, and we'll check in with Pete Thamel.
But I'm sure our SEC Network colleague, maybe we'll pay him back in some green juice from his new shop here in Gainesville.
Oh, I love it. Webb will bounce it off the right side. 3rd down and short after a gain of 4.
Should we payroll deduct, Tebow? Take that, garnish his wages?
I think so.
Yeah. This offensive line, the backup offensive line, is a real concern. I was at scrimmage last Thursday and just had a really tough afternoon blocking the Orange team.
Quick toss, Miller, Mizell in and out. And it was Jordan Castell in coverage. Nicely executed. And you see new Florida defensive coordinator Austin Armstrong on the field.
You mentioned Jordan Castell, one of those guys that the coaching staff's talking awful lot about, a freshman here, early enrollee, one of those 27 new faces.
4th down, they're going to go for it. Early roll the dice, Webb in the backfield. Miller, the quarterback, out of the shotgun. More pressure. He'll roll away from it and be tagged in the process. Jaden Robinson broke through.
Yeah, we talked an awful lot about it, Roy. Not supposed to be blitzing, but it has been a blitz fest early on. The defense is getting the best of it so far.
Still scoreless, first quarter. Chris Doring, Roy Philpott, Pete Thamel on the sidelines. Our second look coming. Graham Mertz, second-year head coach Billy Napier, directing traffic for the final time this spring football season here in 2023. Etienne, the running back, pistol look in the second touch for Graham Mertz, the Wisconsin transfer, stretch left. Etienne will weave his way for a yard, and that's about it. Down to Pete Thamel.
He really thinks Mertz's experience, including 32 starts and a 19-3 record, is really going to help him in this fresh start. And Mertz, guys, was very excited about the RPO game. a few less answers for those 8-man boxes in the Big Ten. So he's excited to be able to call a few more things at the line of scrimmage here in Gainesville.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that really suits Graham Mertz, having an opportunity. Look, he had some moments of looking really good, but I think coming into an offense now where he's allowed to use that football IQ, where he can take the studying that he does and apply it to making checks at the line of scrimmage. Coach Napier told us just about every play they run has a tag on the end of it, which allows you to have a good play on against virtually every defense. And hopefully Mertz is able to take what he's been able to learn in the meeting room and apply it out here and get them into those right plays and make sure this offense has a little more rhythm consistently than it's had last year.
No, CD, we haven't seen the rhythm so far. Mertz will race out of bounds.
Trust what you see and let your arm go.
Second touch, Jack Miller. Cam Carroll in the game. Transfer from Tulane. Over left tackle, picks up some real estate, and it should be enough for a first down. First one we've seen tonight did not come via penalty. That's a gain of 12.
Yeah, you mentioned Cam Carroll coming over from Tulane. He's played a lot of snaps there in that Green Wave offense. I think that's one of the kind of the themes of a lot of these transfer portal guys that Billy Napier and his staff have gone out and have gotten. Lots of starts, lots of game experience under their belt. And although they may be new here to the University of Florida, the SEC, they've played a lot of college football, which will benefit this team.
Carroll stays on the field. Miller pulls it out and will race into plus territory. Now Miller, you go back to a season ago, the thumb injury set him back early. That was issue to overcome. Pressure again, that's been consistent tonight. He'll heave it out of bounds. Second down and 10. By the way, Bryce Thornton's dad played running back at Georgia back in the day. Love to see that if you're a Gator fan. We'll flip it out into the flats, and Scott Isaacs, the penalty marker down, all the way inside the 20.
Odom, Zanders, your leading receiver last year, Zipper at that position, all out. So some young guys getting an opportunity here in spring and tonight, specifically in the orange-blue game.
Cam Carroll bottled up right near the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It was Kelby Collins. By the way, the holding penalty on Jakeem Jackson, who we've been told this past week has got a real chance to be that fourth cornerback. Another one of those freshman players. Second and 10. So look at Jackson. Four-star prospect. Chose the Gators over the Dogs. Florida State, Miami. Turned out to be a picture-perfect night in Gainesville. We were worried about rain earlier in the week. The crowd has showed up. That's great to see. Backside pressure, and Miller got rid of it. Quick strike out of bounds. A 7-yard gain. Zach Sedaros.
Actually, third down here. I'm sorry. And size, particularly on the offensive and defensive lines, trying to bring in some of those difference makers. We know it's a line of scrimmage league, and this team has been deficient, particularly on the defensive side, of those game-changing linemen that can start to do that and take the pressure off the back end.
Saw Coach Armstrong. Miller, the snap came low, could not catch it cleanly. He will dive on it at the 31, and on fourth down, he'll turn it over on downs. Roderick Kearney broke through the line, more pressure. Drive for Miller, I thought, in a number of ways.
Yeah, he made some good decisions, both on the read option game and throwing the football. You look at Austin Armstrong, the first-year defensive coordinator. This is a guy, 29 years old, but you can tell, when you're around guys, just have that it factor. You get the feeling and listening to him, where he's come from. He's been at Alabama most recently, spent time at Georgia, been around these guys like Dan Lanning, Glenn Schumann. So from a real good tree of defensive minds and fits perfectly into what this defense wants to be here. Same language that Patrick Toney used last year. Keeping that consistent is, I think, a real important thing for this defense to take the next step forward.
Four-man front, ETN the running back. Mertz rips it away, wide open, incomplete.
More accurately for Henderson to go make a play on.
It's a play you have to make in the fall, right?
No question. Those are the plays that the best teams in this conference are going to make.
ETN in the flats. Under 4 to go here in our first quarter in Gainesville. Still scoreless. Florida spring game. ETN. Nice jump cut around the left side and up for a first down and stopped at the 45. Be 9-yard gain.
Yeah, I love this running back crew here. It's a dynamic duo with Montrell Johnson and ETN. Very talented players that they were a nice 1-2 punch last year.
Yeah.
And we all know about the lineage that Etienne comes from a family of good running backs with his brother Travis right down the road in Jacksonville with the Jaguars. But an impressive freshman season for that young man.
Yeah, the two combined to rush for almost 1,600 yards. This time stopped at the line. No gain. Caleb Banks ready and waiting.
I think he's not playing as fast as they'd like to see him yet, still trying to think instead of just reacting and playing.
It certainly is a different roster this year. 27 new players enrolling mid-year, including freshmen and through the portal. Contact against Henderson, no flag.
A lot of guys stayed around. The coaches wanted to see and evaluate for themselves. The players were buying in, but I think you eventually saw that thinning of the herd a little bit as a lot of guys didn't necessarily fit the culture, didn't fit the future of Freddie Swain, Tyree Cleveland. So the guy knows how to coach the position. He played it in college, and I love the technician that he is in terms of teaching the details and focusing on the little things of playing the receiver spot.
Henderson grabs the Watkins punt after a 35-yard effort.
Adored Steve Spurrier, and he grew up loving the swamp, even though he was in Alabama. So he graduates from college. He went to a small school, Huntington College. In 2016, he was unemployed, driving around the state of Alabama, handing out resumes. He ends up starting as a GA at West Georgia. He made $287 a month, and his office was a closet. It was an actual closet where they threw his desk in. So from 2016, working in a closet at West Georgia to calling defense in the swamp, it's been a fast rise for Austin Armstrong, and you could tell how fired up he was to be there.
Pete, thank you. Should be the end of the quarter. They will run one more play, and Webb, legs churning along the left side. A nice gain to close things out at the end of the first quarter, just shy of first down yardage. Well, we are still scoreless. The second quarter to come. Jack Miller on the field. Third down and short when we return. On that last run, the defense has been the story so far as Webb goes through the A-gap. It's what sells tickets, right? The offense.
Especially the spring game.
Right. Inside give. Powerful finish. Across the 35.
Not quite as fierce as it's been, I think, in the last couple years for him at Ohio State and here in Florida last year.
Third down and 1. Webb will penetrate the line. He'll pick up the first down. Stopped at the 43. 6-yard gain. Castell the tackle.
Particularly, but yet I think it has to do more about having success within the construct of the offense. A lot of what happened last year offensively fell on the shoulders of Anthony Richardson. Plays breaking down, making things happen with his legs, using that athleticism. I think this is a year where they feel like the quarterback may not necessarily be as athletically gifted or making as big of plays as what Anthony Richardson did, but the talent around him is better. And all you need is a guy that distributes the football, that knows what he's reading and delivers the football accurately. And I think that is kind of what Billy Napier meant about this offense taking a step forward.
Mizell unable to catch the pass moments ago from Miller. Zipped across the middle, and this time the grab is made. And a gain of 14 yards. Ty Jackie-Al Bowman will move the chains, and maybe the longest play of the night we've seen.
That got an opportunity last year at the end of the season to start playing a little bit more. That time does a nice job of finding the hole in the zone. But he's actually come down here to the south and done a nice job the last year and a half.
Nice move by Miller. And a pickup of 8 on first down. Between Miller and Mertz, have you determined maybe who the most athletic quarterback is between the two? Is there a big difference between the two?
I don't know if there's a big difference. I mean, you know, in terms of making plays with the legs, I think Jack Miller's done a better job of that tonight. Certainly had a big run on the zone read earlier in the ball game. But this is not, it's going to be a very different offense than what it was under Anthony Richardson last year. You don't necessarily have that big play threat. Defenses did everything to force a give look when they ran the zone read stuff. I don't think you'll see that quite as much, particularly with the talent in the backfield being Johnson and Etienne a little bit more than Miller or Graham Mertz.
It remains second down.
He was obviously the starter in the bowl game. That was his first career start in the Las Vegas Bowl. The Gators barely scored a point. They needed a field goal as time expired to extend a streak of 30 years of scoring in every single game. Miller said that really has motivated him this offseason. The Gators were down about 25 players in that game and really played undermanned. And Miller said that frustration has really motivated him this offseason. Obviously, as he enters his 4th year of college with just one start, he said this spring and this battle with Mertz is the most pivotal of his entire career. The interesting part of Miller and what he's looking at this spring is he said he's so comfortable with the offense and so familiar with the offense, he's really spent the spring focusing on opposing defenses and beating them as opposed to where his own guys are. And we've seen at times some comfort tonight. That obviously wasn't comfortable with the snap flying over his head and him throwing the ball to me here in the first row.
A lot of Gator fans judging Jack Miller on his ability based upon what they saw from him out there in the Las Vegas Bowl, which I think is completely unfair. First start, guy coming off, nice little run there.
Talk to me, Cam Carroll.
But coming off that thumb injury that kept him out of a lot of the practice last year, he was unavailable for the majority of the season, gets thrust into that start with so many, as you see, Carroll, nice job on the outside zone, and a little hurdle there for the transfer.
It reminded me a little bit of Anthony Richardson in that first start a couple years back.
Yeah. Certainly, as Pete said, a chip on his shoulder to prove that that was not the number 10 that Florida fans can expect this year.
All right, blue team in the red zone. Here we go on first down. Jack Miller surveys. Crosses body wide open, and there it is. Marcus Burke. First touchdown of the night from 16 yards out. That's one way to do it.
For a defense is when a quarterback breaks contain. I love quarterbacks that scramble to let receivers uncover. That time, defensive back Jordan Castillo having to try to cover for a long period of time.
Drive went 12 plays, 82 yards, just under 4.5 minutes. So good rhythm that time, CD. That's what you were looking for in Marcus Burke. Trinity High School getting it done, and a nice throw.
Best offensive drive of the night there, 12 plays, ending in a touchdown. He will get a chance to run with the ones to start the third quarter, going to get that opportunity. So we'll see how this quarterback battle continues to progress. We do expect at some point in time, as you see Etienne bounce outside there, we expect to see Max Brown get an opportunity to get a series in both the first and second half too. A very athletic third string guy that also plays a little baseball for Sully here. I do, again, want to go back, see a little bit more rhythm, find receivers in the right spot at the right time. Quarterbacks having an opportunity to throw. It's been a very run-heavy play calling for the Orange team to this point.
Yeah, 59 rush yards on that last scoring drive. A 3-yard gain here by Johnson with a tackle by James.
Hey, that's a name right there that a lot of Gator fans are really excited about. Shamar James showed up last year in fall camp, got here in the summertime, didn't have a chance to necessarily go through the spring and learn all of the defense at that time. Still started 4 games, played almost 400 snaps last year. This guy moving into a little bit more of a leadership role with Amari Burney and Ventrell Miller moving on to the next level.
Johnson keeps the play going. Montrell Johnson in the plus territory.
When you have those backs at your disposal with Johnson and Etienne, you're going to feed those guys. It's going to be kind of the flavor of the offense this year in general for Florida. And I think it's such an interesting run game that tonight so far had a couple big runs. And that's with an offensive line that's depleted a little bit.
Graham Mertz through his progressions, has his man, Caleb Douglas. And still on his feet, pounded down near the 15.
Ball comes out.
Well, Douglas into the open field. The ball did pop out late. And in fact, he did turn it over.
Through the air. Nice job, as you said, of Mertz going through his progressions. Finds Caleb Douglas. He's got to secure the football a little bit more as he's going down. Doesn't take a huge hit. Ball comes out, turns a scoring opportunity into a turnover.
And that was your guy, Shamar James, with the recovery. New quarterback is Max Brown. We knew he would get at least 1 touch in the first half, 1 coming in the second. Athletic, redshirt freshman out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Lincoln High School. And let's see what 17 brings to the table. 4-man front, inside give. And Webb get to the 14, just a gain of 2. The stop by Will Norman.
Yeah, Billy Napier very complimentary of Max Brown. Said he's still young, needs to develop, but shows flashes. Gives you a little potential of what he has to grow into. Right now just needs a little bit more experience and needs those repetitions that he's getting this spring. But a guy that you feel like you're starting to build some depth at the quarterback position, something you didn't have last year, particularly with Jack Miller going out. It was Anthony Richardson and then a big gap behind him. That's why you saw the play calling conservative sometimes. Didn't necessarily put Anthony Richardson in harm's way a lot. And I think that limited what they were able to do offensively from a play calling standpoint.
Webb for 2, it's 3rd down. pick up the pressure. This ball going long and incomplete. Andy Jean was open for a minute, and Max Brown overshot him. Jaden Hill in coverage, 3 and out.
Yeah, it's one you got to kind of put on him. Jaden Hill coming over from the safety position. Trust Billy Napier when it comes to portal guys. The evaluation of the talent of those guys. Ricky Pearsall won last year. Osiris Torrance, Montrell Johnson. New faces that came in were big-time contributors, and it's a huge get to get number 1 back, as you mentioned.
Announcement coming just a few months ago, a punt of 34 by Jeremy Crawshaw. Good field position coming up, and we will see if Billy Napier wants to get aggressive on this drive. A 7-0 ball game. I believe Orange was about a 3-point favorite coming in. So
where'd you get that line?
I don't know. I just made it up. We'll create more calmness in their minds and understanding what he was able to do at Louisiana. And year 2 of their system, kind of everybody understands their role for the first time.
Nice.
On cue and a big completion inside the 30 to 28, a gain of 19 to Xavier Henderson.
Getting the linebackers sucking up on the play. Fake to Etienne, and then the deep over route to Henderson. Nice throw on time.
He doesn't want to hear that tonight.
Does it not sound like Wisconsin numbers?
It does.
Efficient. Limited yards per catch.
I don't think that's the goal of this offense this year. Handoff, no gain. It's 3rd down. Under 4 minutes to go in the half. Mertz with time. Was standing in the pocket forever and finally escapes with a penalty marker down. And a grab was made near the 12. Gain of 18 by Boardingham.
There was a grab made around the 30-yard line as well. That play did not develop all that quickly.
1st and 10. Graham Mertz on the move into the red zone. And Etienne get down to the 6.
Good to see him settling in here and the offensive line adjust a little bit.
All right, now usually call the plays. What should we see here?
Nice play.
Well, the pass batted down, Pete, and that was Cam Jackson. We mentioned in our open, Jackson coming in from Memphis.
Do have a flag in the secondary, though.
Kick the field goal, man.
Billy's telling him to kick the field goal, guys.
It's created some issues on the inside, right? So this is a guy who played really well for Memphis. We knew him from our background in Louisiana, had an opportunity to get him to come play in the SEC. So phenomenal kid. He's proved to be a great competitor and have a great work ethic.
Jack Miller's played really well so far. He has an opportunity with the ones when we start the second half. What kind of opportunities does that present for him?
Well, you get to work with a different group of players, but you're also going against the best defense too, right? So it's a combination of it all.
We'll see what Miller can do. Touchdown scoring drive the last time, and he'll spot Tony Livingston for a decent gain of 2, maybe 3.
Better protection from the running backs has allowed Graham Mertz to make some plays down the field, be a little bit more efficient, have a little bit more rhythm to that offense.
Tough to tackle Cam Carroll. He had the hurdle moments ago.
You do get Mazuka coming in from Baylor, and Cam Waite's another guy that came over from Louisiana with the coaching staff last year. So this is not the offensive line that we're going to see in the fall.
Henderson back deep to receive. Crawshaw punt. And a wobbler will take a bounce. All right, so down to the 24. Football concludes around the conference really over the course of the next 2 weeks or so. Clean pocket for Mertz. He retreats finally and incomplete, looking for Pearsall.
Puts his foot in the ground and separates, and most importantly, catches the ball consistently.
Johnson, the running back. Mertz steps up. By a little bit of time on the move, and Pearsall corrals it. That'll be enough to move the chains and a gain of 13.
More with the secondary and good coverage. Didn't leave Mertz an opportunity to throw the ball in rhythm.
He'll heave one deep. Pearsall, and incomplete the coverage.
Oh, they called that.
By Jason Marshall.
I don't know about that.
DPI coming on 3 and blue.
What did Austin Armstrong say to us yesterday? You'll probably go out there, number 3. You won't hear Jason Marshall's name called at all, and he'll have done his job.
Defense number 3. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Let's remember, though, that this is spring practice for the officiating crew as well. Big and offensive fan as you possibly could be, but that is not pass interference on the ball that I'm not even sure is catchable.
Well, after the penalty plus territory, Graham Mertz, and here we go.
That'll help your 2-minute drive.
Johnson the back, Mertz. So that qualifies a dirty pocket, running, racing, incomplete.
Another blue jersey flashing. Again, initial pocket breaks down, but not in time.
Douglas, remember, had the 27-yard gainer before the fumble that was recovered by Shamar James moments ago. They rule him down back near the 40. And another sack. Uman Mielen.
This is a roster that does not necessarily provide a lot of hope for winning more than 6 ball games like he did last year.
Deep ball. Pearsall rises up and grabs it. Stopped inside the 20.
Yeah, it looked like the corner was expecting a little safety help. He was playing a little cloud coverage there, forced the outside release, but the safety never came over. And good job by Mertz recognizing the hole shot.
Montrell Johnson in the backfield. He will flank Graham Mertz. Productive start for Graham. First 2 quarters.
Take a look on the left side of your screen. Is tremendous push right there by by Cam Jackson, getting that. Leo Jackson on the right puts his foot in the ground. Mertz knowing the empty spots there, vacated by the safety coming on the blitz. 2 straight catches for Jackson. Former quarterback here out of Gainesville, son of my teammate, as I mentioned, Willie Jackson, a guy that I played with not only at Florida.
Play at Florida. How about Mertz on that drive, CD? 4 of 6, 71 yards, and the touchdown.
Going back to what we said, sometimes the 2-minute drill allows you to just read and throw and not think too much. Made some nice, accurate throws, a couple of them to Jackson at the end, ending with the touchdown, and a little momentum for that squad heading into the locker room.
And Khalil Jackson, 2 grabs last year for just 43 yards, no scores. He'll pick up a touchdown here in the spring game.
He played quarterback at Hawthorne High School right down the road. Really good athlete, came in here initially hoping to play the quarterback position, but ended up moving out to wide receiver. And he's one of those guys that the coaching staff has talked about, has a really nice spring, has worked his way into the rotation. I'll tell you this, having played with both his father and uncle, those guys are amazing athletes. Willie, when he was here, played some running back, obviously a great receiver, played on the basketball team, was a lockdown defender. I believe that was Lon Kruger's squad at that point.
Andy Jean with a path and a lane. And a cut. Brought down near the 25. 6 in blue's got a little jets to him.
Yeah, in comparison to Mizell, not quite as fast, but you listen to Ricky Pearsall talk about Jean.
A little ball flip.
A little tough on the receiving team when they think that the ball's out of the back of the end zone there. All of a sudden the return guy ends up with a flip from the coach.
Freshman from Miami, Northwestern High School. Chose the Gators over Bama, Georgia, Florida State, others. And recruiting certainly trending in the right direction there. Top 11 recruiting class. Cam Carroll, the running back here, with just 9 seconds remaining in our first half. Billy Napier up close and personal with his quarterback. No step away, and Miller fires. Nearly intercepted, and that's where you have to be careful. Jaden Robinson probably wishes he could get that one back.
At the worst, and possibly a pick 6 going the other way.
Now trying to spot Burke, and Jaden Robinson. Blanket coverage, sniffing that one out.
Getting to the flat, undercutting. Jack Miller did not expect the defender to be in that spot. Got away with one, fortunately for him. Get out of bounds.
Toss underneath, first down. That should be the final play of the half. All right, so 10 of 16 for Mertz, 4 of 10 for Jack Miller.
First quarter dominated by the defense. Offense getting a little bit better. 7-7 heading to the half.
Where do you think you end up, Anthony? The world wants to know.
I don't even know. I talk to teams all the time.
Maybe you did improve your draft stock there. They saw your hands. I guess we'll leave it with your thoughts on the quarterback play. Your departure has caused a quarterback battle here. You have 2 very capable guys. What have you thought of Graham and Jack tonight?
I love Jack. I was in the room with him last year. He's a dog. He's going to work. And Graham, I just recently met him a couple months ago. and he's a dog as well. So just watching those two guys compete and just play ball and be QBs, I got love for him, and I'm just ready to see who's going to be the starter.
You're going to be wearing something a little different 2 weeks from tonight? You're going to be wearing a nicer suit 2 weeks from tonight when you go up on that stage?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love putting on the suit, so hopefully I can shock the world and make the world happy.
All right. Well, we're all looking forward to the NFL Draft 2 weeks from tonight on ESPN, and we have Anthony Richardson here with us. And guys, we'll go back to you.
You know what I think's crazy about this, Roy, is people forget that guy is 20 years old. He's one of the youngest players in the draft. Meanwhile, Will Levis, he's 24. Hendon Hooker's 25. So a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and I think that's what the NFL Draft is all about. A second to take a look at the catch.
I mean, this is vintage Pete Thamel. Everything he does goes viral, including interviewing Anthony Richardson. He'll catch the kickoff mid-interview.
How about the awareness, though, right? That's maybe the biggest thing. They haven't played football in months. What are we judging on at this point?
Oh, yes. Mizell, the last intended receiver on the deep ball.
This was an Alabama team that did not have the normal offensive line, did not have the normal Alabama receivers that we're typically seeing in Tuscaloosa, and he put that cape on time and time again, made plays.
How about that grab? Off the carom, Sedaros. There is a penalty marker down and likely pass interference coming. Javion Toombs was in coverage.
It's funny as we take a look at that last play, little hand fighting. Defender got the hand up in the face mask.
Meeting down there with all the fans just wanting to hang out and have a last word before he goes to the next level. Snap was low. Mertz did his best to make sure that he could jump on, and Jaden Hill jumping in there as Anthony Richardson continues to sign autographs on what is a spectacular night here in the Sunshine State.
Remember, Kingsley Eguakin is not playing tonight, utilizing some backup centers in there tonight. The snaps have not been all that consistent, which makes it a little more difficult going back to some of the struggles offensively and the lack of rhythm when you're not. I hear people all the time like, should Anthony Richardson have come back for another year? Why would you come back for another year? Like, if you're going to be a top 5 pick, I understand that he can develop a little bit more. I understand that maybe he hadn't put his best out there yet consistently, but this is a guy that's going to be drafted in the first probably 3 or 4 picks of the draft, and when you can make that kind of money, you go take it while you can. Now, whoever drafts him has got to be patient with him. I don't think you put him in the first year as a starter.
Richardson has some things about his game that will really pop in the NFL. Far side toss, and Pearsall sails out of bounds near the 20. It's number 16 in ESPN's quarterback rankings back in the day. Snap was dropped, and the throw errant.
Yeah, that time a good snap. That one's on the quarterback. Very tempting to want to get your eyes down the field, but you can't do anything until you catch the football from the center.
Chris Doering as a quarterback is interesting. On 3rd and short, that's a first down.
Chris Doering, I like to practice award. Yeah, I feel like I was a pretty good practice guy.
Love to see it. How about this completion? You love to see it to Caleb Douglas.
Yeah, Caleb Douglas is a guy that really did a good job last year of kind of at the end of the season starting to flash. Made some plays down the stretch, and I think left Florida fans feeling really good about the potential here at the University of Florida for Douglas.
It's a gain of 23, his second long gainer of the night. The last one went for 24 in that second quarter. Oh, first down and 10. Guess who's on the move again? Mr. Jack Miller. Etienne will try to bounce it outside. A little shimmy shake, and stopped at midfield.
Don't I look like a guy that likes to practice?
You do. I mean, you still look like you could practice today.
I appreciate that.
Second down and 9, Miller. Keep the play alive, and a dangerous pass with double coverage. Caleb Douglas again, the intended target. His energy has been a focal point throughout spring. He certainly has brought a truckload of that. Another whistle that play dead. Tyreek Sapp with that last pressure. Pearsall back deep to receive this latest punt. All right, Emer's on. Send it to the 16. We'll step aside.
Welcome back to the Swamp. This is the place where the fun and gun came and urban spread took over college football. Tonight's been about defense, and there are 2 new faces at nose tackle, at least one new face and one slimmed down face that could define this Gators as they try. Austin Armstrong tries to revive some of the defense here here at the Swamp. Cam Jackson, who we talked about earlier in the broadcast, the 6'6", 355-pounder who transferred from Memphis, has flashed all over the field tonight. And then there's Des Watson, number 21 on the orange team, who is 6'5" and has fluctuated between 415 pounds and 450 pounds during his time at the Gator. There are not a lot of humans, gentlemen, walking the earth right now that are as big and twitchy as Des Watson and Cam Jackson, and their emergence is going to be key. The SEC obviously is a line of scrimmage league, and if you cannot control the line of scrimmage, you're not going to win games. There's a lot of optimism about Cam Jackson, and there's optimism that if Des Watson continues to shed weight, he could be a rare bird in this league as well.
Yeah, that's the key right there, Pete. Shed the weight. You know, at 449, it's an interesting story. We can laugh about it, but I read something today. Somebody described him as a rotational lineman. You can't play every down in this league at 449 pounds. You know, can't be effective out there. You get caught out there with a defense that's playing, or excuse me, an offense that's playing tempo, you're going to be a liability. So he's good for a couple plays, but he's got to do a better job in the weight room of losing some of that weight and keeping it down in an effort to be more of an impact player for this defense.
Last pass nearly caught by Mizell. 3-yard gain by Webb and the tackle by Spurlock. Quickly, it's third down. And yeah, Cam Jackson's done a great job getting where he needs to be for this defense. A transfer coming in from Memphis, and talking to Austin Armstrong and staff members this past week, he's got a real chance to play big-time football in the NFL.
Yeah, I've heard some Florida coaches talk about him being a potential first-round draft pick himself, and that's what Florida needs. They have not had those difference makers up front. The front seven has not looked like what a typical Florida defense has been known for in the past. Recruiting those players that Pete was talking about, the big, physical, twitchy players on the lines of scrimmage on the defensive side is of the utmost importance to the staff right now.
Mertz going deep. Marcus Burke somehow.
That was a little Tyrone Pro throw-ish, right?
I mean, it was. The defender draped all over him. He somehow caught it.
Job of concentrating.
Now, Jakeem Jackson all in his grill, a gain of 39.
Take a look right there.
Talk to me.
Look at it, pinning it against the defender.
That's a catch.
Yeah, well, we'll give it to him.
That is a catch.
We'll give it to him. I'm not hating.
Hey, where's the paperwork? SportsCenter Top 10. We're going to make the filing right now. Put that one in there for Marcus Burke, who caught a touchdown earlier.
He did catch a touchdown. Big night for Burke tonight, making one of the highlight plays that you never see something like that. That's a tremendous job of concentrating. Look at him. He's getting interfered with, having a hard time of getting his arms up. Does a nice job of pinning the football up against the defender's back. Yeah, I'll give it to him. Great job despite the pass interference.
Guys, as we watch Mertz scramble here for another pass.
Well, it's early to be having those conversations, but I agree 1,000%. Battle. Be stopped behind the line. He's going to lose to Jack Pyburn, the TFL.
Nice play by Pyburn, running that thing down from the backside, reading it and reacting.
Even from his time as a player. Little jump toss. Andy Jean. And a nice route and a first down. Florida fans will enjoy getting to know him these next couple of years. Jump cut straight ahead. Pyburn stops Webb. Fourth quarter.
Double pass.
Second time. That's Max Brown on the field. Just talking about it moments ago, the double pass, and boy, a hard hit. That is an easy penalty flag. Khalil Jackson. There's Spirito. He's got plenty of spirit. Franklin, Tennessee. .5 minutes to go. Tied at halftime. We remain tied here in the fourth. Chris Doring, Roy Philpott, Pete Thamel on the sideline. We've already talked with Anthony Richardson tonight. Johnson will barrel ahead. Brown retreating. He showed you the arm strength, and that pass will be caught near the line to gain by Henderson. Well, Brown was going backwards. There was plenty of zip on that pass.
Yeah, he definitely was, right? He didn't have his feet set, but delivered a strike. Was under a little bit of pressure there. Trying to go through his progression. Never really gets his feet set, but drops it down.
Athlete was the word used to describe 17 with a black jersey. He's going to zing one deep, and Henderson was open for a minute, but that last toss was impressive. It's completion, it's opening, and what it means for Florida football long term. Johnson was tripped up by Denson. It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal, right? And maybe people will say it's not as big a deal anymore with the dawn of NIL and guys making decisions more about what money they can make instead of the facilities. But I'll tell you this, just from talking to the coaching staff, the efficiency, the day-to-day operation, having everybody in one spot. When I was here, our locker rooms were in the south end zone. We'd have to walk across to the same practice fields. Now these guys are doing everything right there in this all-inclusive facility that's $90 million and has all the bells and whistles you could possibly ever want.
It truly did. I watched it being constructed, calling basketball games here. To walk in it yesterday, it's eye-popping. That pass incomplete with Henderson open for a moment. It's 4th down. Played mostly as a kickoff specialist a season ago. And that one will sail wide right. Well, the second time tonight we've seen Max Brown. Chance for a 47-yard field goal. Trey Smack just off the mark. Graham Mertz back on the field. Play action. And the pass reeled in by Isaacs. Walk on tight end. Pick up a 1st down. Well, 2 big highlight plays so far tonight. Cam Carroll, a hurdle in the first half. And the credible reception by Marcus Burke. The defender draped all around him. And the handoff. It's a nice pickup. Gain of 6 down to Pete Thamel with Coach Billy Napier.
Has tonight been a good test of Graham working through adversity? There were some dirty pockets, like you said earlier. There's been struggles with the snaps under center here. He's had to face some things.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a little bit of this group up front is creating issues on both sides.
I think some of that mud, Billy, might be good for the Gators, considering you had some struggles on defense last year. Have you seen some positive steps this spring under Austin?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example right here. Kelby Collins, a true freshman. And these 2 backs, they've done a good job of making the most of what they've been given tonight. But got a couple good young ones.
They all talk about how calculated he is before he makes a decision, what he processes and the information that he's trying to gather. Just feels like a really good fit here.
Etienne off to the races, left side and shoved out. Big gainer on the ground. It's a 1st down.
Nice job of getting the edge. Looked like Scooby Williams did not set the edge for the defense and allowed Etienne to get outside for the big gain.
I mean, they've created some chaos tonight, and I think that's what he's known for with his time at Bama, Georgia, Southern Miss calling plays before arriving here in Gainesville.
It looks like this defense has taken a big step forward. They were terrible last year on 3rd down, 129th in the country when it came to getting off the field on 3rd down. That first quarter, they 3rd down and 1 to 3 yards. They gave up 69% of the time. It's a tough task for a defense to try to hold up on 3rd and short. You get into that 3rd medium, 2nd down to hopefully give them a little bit easier situation in 3rd and long and not allow those offenses to convert at such a high clip.
Let us discover what will unfold here at the end of this 4th quarter in a tie game. Mertz in at quarterback. Sidearm delivery. That pass brought down for a gain of 2, maybe 3 by Livingston, and that'll be about it. Jaden Hill in coverage.
Been talked about a lot for his athleticism. Really good high school basketball player. Averaged 17 points a game. So this is one of those guys that has that athleticism that fits really well into that tight end position.
Stats tomorrow not going to look too shabby for Mertz. That is his 18th completion in 27 attempts and back-to-back grabs by Tony Livingston.
Yeah, Tony. I'm sorry, I said Terry Livingston. Tony Livingston.
And a new trend in college football with the portal. Roster's likely to shift a little bit more after even tonight when the transfer window opens again. Mertz delivers incomplete.
He did 2-a-days to learn the offense. He would stand there and he went through the Gators' entire offense last year on film, called out the plays, learned the verbiage, and he has caught up very quickly. That has motivated Jack Miller.
Right place to throw the football. Jack Miller back on the field here, still tied at 7. Retreating with the screen and incomplete. Right through the A gap, that delayed pressure got to him. I think it was Todd McShay, number 3 to the Colts. We showed that earlier. When things get crazy on draft night, you never know. 3rd and 16, another penalty flag. Will Anderson, no question, no brainer. 1st round, top 10, number 1. He'll go in the top 10, but not at number 1 2 weeks from tonight. I don't know. Pete Thamel dabbles in a little of the NFL draft conversation.
He's likely not going to be ready to start in week 1. They're going to have to rein his skill set, teach him the NFL game, and give him some time to grow. And if he gets that time, the raw skill is clearly there. And we saw that flash a bunch during his sophomore year and again during times this season.
This season, where he stood up in front of the team when things weren't going well and said, look, I'm going to be better about standing up. I'm going to be better about using my voice and using my platform as the quarterback here to be a better leader. And I think it was well received by the majority of the coaches that I've talked to about how he kind of answered those questions.
On the sidelines tonight.
Pete Thamel's debut on the sideline tonight. He's done a good job.
I think he has as well. Mertz fires that pass incomplete.
You know what the difference is, though, as we talk about the big three in the state of Florida? One team has a quarterback, right?
And a booming punt that is turned over beautifully. One bounce. Again, that's key takeaway number 1. Miller will dump it off. Big gainer coming to Montrell Johnson in the plus territory, and Lasso down from behind for a 37-yard gain. So 8 seconds to go, and don't go anywhere just yet.
Game-winning field goal attempts here. A little excitement towards the end of the orange and blue game.
This has got to be quick, whatever it is, for Jack Miller. And off the pump fake, same play. Well, Johnson will move Florida into sweet redemption.
I'm going to go positive as well. I'm with you. I think he drills it.
Orange team with its off-season hopes in the balance. 46-yard effort, 1 yard closer than that 47-yarder that missed wide right. On the way. And it is good. Trey Smack, how do you do? Orange wins it 10-7 in walk-off fashion.
That's the most celebrating we've seen all night, right? Give the fans something to be excited about. With an offense making a drive late and a walk-off field goal to win it for the Orange.
Split the pipes, 10-7 the final. The Orange over the Blue. So we say good night.